Hey there, all. This is once again your loyal and faithful companion, Connor, here for you to go ahead and talk about our roster for the upcoming nostalgia games. Without further ado, let's get started with none other than the Ultrabots. Super friendly, super unnerving, super partiers. What's not to like about them? Their parties are to die for, and you may find your people can't help but join them, even against your own wishes. However, anyone that has an affinity for electricity is in for a nasty shock at these raves. That leads to number 2, the bestest boys, the Pack. Whoever made these pups join in the World War has got to be a monster. But to be fair, these dogs are pretty monstrous themselves. Be expecting a powerful genetically enhanced enemy. But perhaps you could scare them off with some noise instead, please? That leads to the Flourish. Hot, hot, hot. These impressive beings will both melt your heart and your world. Flying like angels from above, be careful of making deals with this very egotistical race. And that leads us to Ghost Cav, as cool can get. These undead baddies roam the land hoping to uncover their past. Be careful not to get in their way, if you even can, with their innate ability to phase through all objects. The ultimate scouts and spies. And that leads to the Hexon, 6-sided bringers of doom. These little minions may not look like they pack a punch, but you'll reconsider when you see the meteor. Their hunger for desolation may just bring their own doom, if you can only keep them super far away from those towers of theirs. And that leads us to our next players' factions. We're gonna get started off with the Monster Houses. They're hungry and they're spooky, mysterious and kooky. They're all together, homie. The Monster Houses. Lawn care professional extraordinaire, taking care of both your untrimmed grass and unconsumed intestines. Keep them away from your districts, please. That leads us to SpaghettiOs. If I existed in a world with parasitic noodles that could take over your mind, and hyper-intelligent geese that would swallow you whole, only to spit you back out to a horrific goose replica with all of your memories, I'd want to burn it too, Flourish. That's going to take us to faction number 3, the Rebel Lemmings. Truly revolutionary. They pride themselves on liberating from all things political. This internal conflict may very well make these otherwise industrious rodents to begin to rip themselves apart. A far cry from their communal origins. That's going to take us to the skeleton snakes of the Saladin Empire. Been a while since we heard from them. Getting up to no good and rattling a few bones. They are the definition of a glass cannon. If the glass meant fragile bone and the cannon meant what happens when you fuse that bone into a giant frickin' snake. And that's going to take us to the final faction of this player, which is the Unicorn Cowboys. A triglomerate of all things good and holy, cats that are incredible at assassination, cowboy bandits that will kick your teeth in and steal your jewels, and of course, unicorns that can summon minor black holes from their horns. Delightful. That's going to take us to our next player, the Clones. Who needs anybody else when you are your own best friend? Killing the hive mind leader won't quite work with this faction. The only true way to end this eternal loop is by removing each and every last drone. If only there weren't 20 of them for every one of you. That's going to take us to the Dragon Pirates, truly powerful rulers of the skies and seas. They now seek the land. These humans gifted with the power to turn into mythical fire-breathing lizards may seem invulnerable, but get them out of their element and you might just stand a chance. That's going to take us to the Ice Giants of Joko strength. They are a proud and noble tribe of warriors. Any faction would be lucky to have them on their team. Watch the giants crush their enemies like ants, but be warned, every giant was once a child, and every child is just a football waiting to be punted. Quote, Connor. Mafia Crabs. Hey Joey, pass me the Genko, would be a common phrase heard from these newly rejoined faction. You'll definitely hear these prolific drug makers before you see them, as their chitinous skin gives a distinct clicking sound every time they pull out the Tommy gun. And that's going to take us to the final faction of theirs, which is the Mask Tribes. Versatile and adaptive. These humans may very well be the most superpowered beings on the planet, but they are far from reaching their full potential. Only a coward would strike them early before they reach all that they are capable of. And that's going to lead us to our next player, starting off with the Imperial Shrooms. The one, the only Mycelian Empire. They have genocided multiple peoples off the face of the planet. And now they figure, what's a few more? The flame of their passion for conquering is nothing compared to their fear of the fire. Spark up a conversation and bring them to burn. That's going to take us to the corrupted lemmings, the forsaken handshakers of the bishop. These burrowing, infested people strike once more towards the surface to claim dominion for themselves. The only thing keeping them separated from the feral animals is their lust for industrialization. That's going to take us to the scorpions, bred for war and trained in the harshest climate. These armies are made of only the most elite squadrons. So brutish and dominating are they, less of an organized army and more of a rushing wave. They hardly even listen to their lords as they make the sands run red with blood. That's going to take us to the ancients, genetically altering themselves with the animal-like plant that is the mushroom. They are the cause for both the massive worms roaming their lands and the great Mycelian Empire. What secrets could these fun guys hold? And that's going to take us to the final player today, starting off with the Blackheart Lemmings, not to be confused with their corrupt or liberating counterparts. These noble lemmings have some controversial opinions on what the true power the Blackheart holds. Honorable but unforgiving to their enemies, a force of nature seems to guide their very blades. Coming up next is going to be the Owls. What a hoot these Guardians of the Plains are. Pushed to the edges of the continent and only trying to protect those above from that below. Don't be surprised if you become their next target of purging of evil, all in the name of the greater good. That's going to lead us to the androids. Gears and springs bounces. These liberators gear up and get ready to spring into action. Their raw perception of the world may make them seem naive, but they truly are the most sincere replicators of their human counterparts. The Gammons, on the other hand, these fallen empire gathers together from the far reaches of the land to join forces once more. Being able to keep hidden for so long from the eyes of their hunters is a feat within itself. But the road has drained their strength and combat capabilities. I have a feeling we haven't seen nothing yet from these people. That's going to take us to the final faction for the day, which is the Souls of Fallen Light. It takes a lot more than some ancient evil to keep these ghosts down in the ground. Just because they value their possessions more than your life doesn't mean they need to be booed. Maybe they will even use their poltergeist ability to sweep up the crumpled armies they leave in their wake. Speaking of corrupt and ancient evils, I know it's here somewhere. Where did I leave